Hello and welcome to the first episode of Cricket this week. Today is the eve of the Ashes, anticipation building. Let's jump straight in head first. Starting off, let's take a look at what has been happening in the cricket world this week. The world's premier T10 competition kicked off in Abu Dhabi because apparently T20 wasn't short enough. Now, initially I thought this was a little thing, but surprisingly a lot of big names are playing. Jason Holder, Liam Livingstone in the opening match for the Quetta Cavalry. Well, Trent Boult and Colin Munro were on the opposing team, the Northern Warriors. The teams are all just as stacked at this, if not more. The Deccan Gladiators, Stoinis, Colin Cadmore, who hit 78 off 29. Pooran, Russell, Laurie Evans, Tim David, Mir Hamza, Phil Salt, James Vince, and that's just on the UAE Bulls alone. Among the other notable players in the league are Ben McDermott, Murali Vijay, Faf du Plessis, Moeen Ali and Chris Green. As you can imagine, a T10 game, the strike rates are higher than the numbers on Rakeem Cornwall's scales. Jumping straight from the shortest format to the longest one, and Bangladesh are hosting Ireland for a test series. The second test of two is currently underway, and after losing by an innings in the first match, Ireland will be looking to bounce back. Bangladesh currently sit at 4 for 292, with Andy McBride taking all 4 of the wickets. Myself, I have been indulging a bit in that matchup, but as we know, it is not the main test that we will be talking about. As tomorrow, the Ashes start up over in Perth, and we start off with an alarming stat for England. England haven't won a test in Australia since January 2011. People born on the day of England's last triumph away from home are in year 8 currently. England need to win one this series or risk having adults with no away Ashes wins in their lifetimes. That is very concerning if I'm England. Obviously, stats are the most important thing. Let's see how big of a role that plays. I think it'll play a big role. Australia's wounded bowling attack, I think it's not a big deal. Cummins and Hazelwood, yes, great players, but Doggett, he's been in outstanding form in domestic for years. Great Shield player, and the one and only Scott Boland gets another chance when he plays. He dominates. I mean, I am so excited to see Scott Boland play. Obviously not excited for the injuries to other people, but if it means Scott Boland's playing, it's a risk I'm willing to take, quite frankly. Hat-trick last time out. He's dominated most of the matches he's played. That's last summer against India. He was outstanding. Boxing Day, SCG especially, and Adelaide. He's just a great player, and he would fit into any other lineup in the world. He would be a premier fast bowler for any other test team, and that's unfortunate. He's like Stuart McGill, he's been referenced to multiple times. McGill with Warne, obviously. Boland has this whole free mad pace attack that he's just struggled to break into, and that's reality, I guess. He's this established team. They don't want to muck around with it, but when there's injuries, the best you can do is make a statement for yourself when there's injuries and you get the chance. And of course, the openers are another issue. Weatherald, Khawaja, who's going to open? It's a bit of an issue. Since Warner has been struggling, I would have liked to see Campbell Kellaway in there. That's my pick for opener. But I am not George Bailey, nor Andrew McDonald or Pat Cummins. So I don't think my opinion on that matters at all. That is just the reality of it. I'm not an Australian selector, like I said, so I don't know why I'm even giving my opinion. Now it's a bit of batting order. Tetris for the Australians. Where will Marnus Labuschagne bat? 2, 3. He could bat anywhere, really. I think he's definitely should bat 3, but probably they could make him bat 2. If they need. But the big one who can fit anywhere is Cameron Green. Does he play 3? Does he play 5, 6 as an all-rounder? Or, what I think may happen, I wouldn't be surprised if it happens, Cam Green playing as an opener. An opening batsman who can bowl. It's your Shane Watsons. You're thinking that sort of player. It could happen. I mean, we saw he's got a century with the bat in the ODI series against South Africa. That was a while ago, but still, I think he's an option. He's an alright player in Test cricket. I think he's more suited to the one-day game, but anything can happen. But the success of that matters. I think Travis Head is probably their next opener. If Weatherald falls over, look, he does it in the one-day game, so I'm not gonna deny it. Could happen. Anything could happen. They gotta find an opener soon, hopefully. And if Constance gets in some form, he should be aiming for a recall. I think Weatherald knows he needs to perform or get dropped like McSweeney. Remember McSweeney? I don't think anyone's going to remember McSweeney in a few years. They'll be like, oh yeah, remember Nathan McSweeney? He played a few tests. Just like Jason Frazier or Curtis Patterson. You know, it's a tough gig playing Test cricket. And you may only get a few chances, but you got to shine. And if you don't, no one remembers you. As much as you have this brilliant career, you played 10, 15 years of domestic cricket at the highest level, batting consistently. You get one chance at Test cricket and you muck it up. That's unfortunately that's how it works, how the cookie crumbles. Moving on, then we have England's bowling attack, and I think it's taken a massive hit. We all know that it's taken a massive hit since the last Ashes. No Broad, no Anderson. I don't think the majority of people know the majority of England's bowling attack. Cast, Tongue, Atkinson. But the big issue is Archer and Wood, two express pace bowlers. They are brilliant on their day, and we've seen that in the past. The issue for me is their fitness. They're not going to stay fit. They're not going to play all 5 tests. So it's a question of rather, do you go and say, or we're going to rotate them, Archer will play one, Wood will play one, or do you go, they're both going to play the first test, which they definitely should because they need to win that test. If they win the first test, they've got a series. I think the first test is so vital for confidence, for morale, and just for the, vibe of the team, the expectation, the media. The media is a massive part. If they're on your backs, it can be a lot harder, but it will be a test, the first test. Obviously, that's not what I meant, but it'll be a real, I don't know how to word it other than a test. Yeah, you know what I mean, though. And it'll define the series, I think, the first test in Perth. The Perth test didn't define it in the India series, luckily. It was India's only win for the series, as it turned out. It's a tough situation. It's hard to predict. I did a video predicting with AI, and they all went Australia. So, England, if they can get their fast bowlers, their express bowlers, if both of them play every test, I think England are a chance at the series. If Archer and Wood both play every test, they are a good chance, England. That is the issue for Australia. They know they're not going to be fit for every test. They know that's the truth. But ultimately, they're going to have to manage them. They don't want them injured. If they get injured, England are in a world of pain, honestly. It'll be a lot harder if they've got neither of them. But it's also the length of time they can bowl. They're not going to bowl 10 over spells. Let's be realistic. They'll bowl a couple overs, 4, 5 max. So the Australians, they just have to see them through. Defend, do what you need to see them through. But if they can strike the English, they'll be good. If they can use them wisely. It's a very tactical game. Stokes, McCullum, they are very tactical. It requires a lot of good tactician mentality to win this series. It's a test. It's 5 days. It's attrition. It's a war. And if they can use their brains, their tactics to come out on top, I think that'll be good for England. Not good for Australia, but good for England. Now, the venue of the first test, Optus Stadium, is hosting its first Ashes test, missing out in 21-22 due to WA's restrictive COVID regulations. We don't know how England are going to perform in a long format here. We've got no previous experience. The weather is looking nice, which is always good to see. But crowd concerns at Optus Stadium. I mean, you look at the last test, look at Pakistan, they didn't have a big crowd. And it is tough for them. They are not in the holidays, as a lot of tests are. Boxing Day gets big crowds, it's in the holidays. No one's working, no one's going to school. And that's an advantage it has, but yeah, hopefully a good crowd there is what everyone wants, I think. Just for the atmosphere, the pressure on the English, and cheering on the Australians. It's a big impact on the players, the coaches, everyone. And our final piece for today is the importance of the first ball. As we know, the 21-22 Ashes, Rory Burns, I don't know what he was doing. His batting action is quite unique, quite strange. But it opened him up to that swinger from Stark, and he bowled him brilliantly. On the other hand, for the English, Zach Crawley smacking Cummins for 4 off the first ball. That is how you want to start, as you mean to go on. And both defined the series and the way they played. Rory Burns got out first ball and England collapsed. They didn't bat well, so as much as Crawley's batted aggressively after that first ball, going for 4. It's a real momentum decider of the first ball of the Ashes. England have faced it the last 2 times. I'm not sure about 2019, but just getting that first ball away is crucial. Anyways, it's a rather short one today, but I'm sure as the Ashes progress, we will have more to talk about and longer episodes. But if you did enjoy, please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.